right, let's talk about this ace-4 suited here. Back on topic. You raise under the gun. A4R defends the big blind. He's a pretty loose player, so he's going to be pretty wide.
Yeah, he's definitely a rig. Actually, he's not that loose. I have 600 hands on him, and he's playing 16-11.
Okay, then I like your play even less. But let's hear the breakdown for the flop play and turn play.
Let's see. So flop, what I do? I just check back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like I have there's no good cards I can really barrel on except for like a deuce or like a five, and those cards aren't gonna make him fold like anything that he calls the flop with, and so like having no like hands that I can barrel on really makes this hand a check in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree with what you said. I also think you have like one of the worst hands you're ever gonna have.
Yeah.
So for that, you could swing it towards a bet, but I'd rather I guess I'd rather just check back, fold this hand, and like c-bet like ace-4 of hearts or something.
Yeah, like and like just because I check back doesn't mean I'm just gonna lose the hand. Like I can end up betting on like different turns, or like I can check back, flop, and turn, and possibly bet some rivers, and like
Bro,
or I can like, overbarrel, like do something. You know, like I'm not just necessarily gonna just lose the hand here.
You're gonna lose.
Am I?
Oh wow. He's gonna.
Am I really?
Yeah, you are. You are gonna lose.
Well, I haven't seen the hand yet. I was just wondering. Damn.
The main thing was I think I would just fold the turn. I know he can like bet with a bunch of like draws that he picked up, but if he's not defending that wide, I think that the turn call was thin.
Yeah,
that was the part of the hand. Like the flop play, I totally agree with. The turn play was more like, I know we have like ace high and we checked it back and we're getting like 3-1, call one, but like I just think the hand's too weak to even peel. I think we should just fold the turn.
Yeah, it was just like on the king. I don't really think he should be leading anything. Yeah. So like once he, but like these guys aren't cash game players, so like I should realize that. And like once he bets turn, I just think he's full of shit a lot. And like the king's so good for me, and I can like bet small on the river and get him to fold like his 10x and stuff. So that's why I peeled. But like considering this guy's willing to lead a king here, it's not a good call.
Yeah, cool. I agree. All right, let's look for a couple more hands, and then we'll free the people. And let them chat for a little bit, because I see that more people are rolling in, and people are getting curious, and they probably want to ask us some questions. So, in about 5-10 minutes, we'll open up the floor to questions. I like this limp here on the button into these stack sizes. Cheap steal on the flop. Nice bet. Nice sizing. Keeping it simple. Advanced tournament tactics with Ali Imsirovic. Keep it small ball. Super fucking small ball. Alright, so we raise king queen suited. I like the c-bet with the 2 overcards and the flush draw. It's a board that he'll hit. It's like, oh man, like middling cards he can hit, but if you think about just how wide Tay Swifty is defending, like there are tons of hands that miss, and even the ones that hit are going to face a lot of tough turn and river cards where we can barrel off. That's not one of them, but tell us why you bet it anyway. I kind of know why you did.
Why do you think?
I think that you bet the turn because when a card comes off that changes nothing, it's very unlikely for you to continue bluffing. So he kind of has to give you credit for a big pair. And whether he called with a 9 or a 7, with the hands that you're repping when you still bet on that turn, a 9 or a 7 has 2 outs. Basically, to a boat. And there's no flush draws, so there's no like draws you could be semi-bluffing with. So you look very value heavy.
And my sizing is like small, so try to make it look even more value heavy. And I'm gonna barrel like a lot of river cards. So like a 9 or 7 is gonna have a lot of difficult. Because I'm gonna bet really big on the river and just like make my range super polarized here, and he's just gonna have to fold. Like a 9 is gonna be so close for him, I think. And like he's not gonna be able to put me on any bluffs other than maybe like Jack 10 suited or like 10-8 suited, making it really hard for him to call.
And the funny thing is like the 9's close for him on the turn. How's he going to feel on the river when the third one comes? You also keep the door open for you to be able to barrel him off, whereas if we check the turn, like we're kind of, there's no way you're going to steal a pot later.
This is like an OTP Red Baron play that I saw him do a lot. I was like, doesn't make much sense. And then I was like, huh. So that's why he does it. And then it seems to work a lot. So I really like doing these kind of plays.
Yeah. I like it too. I like it a lot.
Okay.
10, 7, 7, 4. I can't skip through any of the hands now because they're like awkward stack sizes out there that I can see you attacking at any point. So I really
Yeah.
have to pay attention to everyone. So we raised ace queen, great flop for us. He's only got 2x the pot, so the game plan is to try to get all the money in. I think betting 6 to 8k on the flop is good. Checking's also fine if he's like a stabby type player. Looks like his aggression's 0.
Bin Vladen. He's a reg. I don't have that much info on him. I haven't played much with him, but I know he's a reg. And like on this board, I assume that he would expect me to like bet all my hands for value here. On like this board's kind of connected, so I thought he would stab a lot on the turn.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you ever I'm like totally like skipping ends, but do you ever consider checking back again on the turn when he's basically saying his range is super, super weak, just so that if he shows up on the river with, you know, some high card hand that he feels obligated to bluff it, like you accept you're only going to get one street of value that way, but in a spot where they just have nothing, I feel like sometimes it's the best move.
Once again, I think that's like kind of a cash game play as well, because like a lot of cash game players are willing to attack your cap range, while tournament players are going to be like, oh, he has ace king, he's not going to fold, so I just check, you know?
Cool. All right, so we attack here, big stack versus big stack. We do have a blocker. The 3-bet works. Why don't you talk through a little bit about that ace-2 3-bet? Just like a couple points, and then I'll give them the news about the home game that's starting soonish, because I think we're about halfway through the review.
Yeah, this guy was playing, it says 39-36 on here, and he's a big stack, so I assume he's just trying to like attack the bubble a lot. So, and I didn't have much hands on him, but like, he probably wouldn't feel too comfortable calling a big 3-bet out of position against another like decently sized stack. So I thought it was a really good spot to go for.
So we're gonna continue with this review. At this point, we're in the money. 45 spots are paid. This is the $215 buy-in, 50k guaranteed on America's Cardroom. Currently, there are probably 40 people left. Were you leading at this point? You're definitely one of the bigger stacks.
Yeah, I'm one of the bigger ones. I'm not exactly sure where I'm at. Kenyan Track Hack has more to me at this point, so.
Okay. And I'm going to put the chat back into subscribers only mode. And then when it's the next break, we will take it off so you guys can have freedom and be able to chat away. So, all right. Ace-3. We fold. We fold. Maybe we want to 3-bet him, but no need for that. Hope that answered all you guys' questions, guys. If we missed one, save it for the next break, or just tweet it at Grips Poker, and I try to answer those questions after the work day is done. All right. Yeah, so this was the 3-bet we got through, so we're now caught up. Queen Jack, good open. You limp. I like the limp. Maybe just say a couple things about it.
It's a spot that I want to play post off with this hand. I only have one stack that's gonna jam over me, I think, so it's not too relevant. But if I can limp and get a lot of like weaker Queen X or weaker Jack X in the pot, like a small blind that completes like Jack A or whatever, the hand that he would like fold, and it comes like Jack High, I can easily get a lot of value in those kind of spots. And like an ace high board is still gonna be good for me because they're not gonna have too many ace X while I can still limp my ace X here. So like there's just a lot of spots where I can take it down, or I can have them dominated with worse hands. Because if I raise Queen Jack here, I'm not like like a lot of these guys are not gonna defend with like the weak Jack X or Queen X. While if I complete limp, we get to see a flop with those hands that I dominate as well.
Mm-hmm. And then on this board we just go for the cheap steal.
Yeah.
Oh, and you turn what's probably the best hand, check back and bet for value on the river. He check raises, you don't care, you call. I mean, he check raised to the size that you could have bet anyway.
Yeah.
So it's...
I think betting really small on a turn isn't horrible either. Like betting like 4K on a turn might be okay as well.
Yeah, 4K is cool because you can call it the 7, any draws you picked up, and then you just check back river.
Yeah.
Free showdown spot. Okay, so this Queen Jack. We don't call raises with Queen Jack. That is Sklansky's gap concept, which he talked about in No Limit Hold'em Theory and Practice, one of my top 3 cash game books. for sure. Oldie but a goodie. A7. What's this guy's stack? He's 17 blinds. He's kind of loose. Pretty high steal. I could see this being a 3-bet. I could also see it being a fold. But I could definitely see finding a 3-bet there in that spot. Raise first in stats so essential.
Yeah.
Alright, so we peel. Ace-10 suited. Flop. Good. Not great. We flopped fairly likely the best hand, but equity-wise, I don't know if we're that likely to be a big favorite. And this is... he's all in for 24. I guess call him fold if the guy behind you ISO shoves?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of like weaker 10x that you can lead here, or just like he has a jack in his hand, you could just do this as well.
Yeah.
If he has like 9-jack, 8-jack, all those hands can do that. Random heart draw. There's just a lot of hands you can do this with that I'm doing pretty good against.
Do you think his shove is fine 4-way, given that he has such a short stack? Once he sees this flop, he just kind of...
What does he end up having here?
10-6, so top pair and a low gutter.
It was... I think he should have just folded pre.
Yeah.
And see, it's exactly why you probably don't want to call pre. This is what I was talking about earlier, defending tighter than I used to. I used to always, in his spot, just call, and then on this board, what do? You just jam into 3 players on an 8, 9, 10 with 10-6 off? Like, it's just such a gross spot that I think just folding 10-6 off. If he feels a heads-up call, and if, like, say I raise and he defended big blind, I think it's a fine spot to defend. But with being at 4 ways, like, your equity substantially drops, which is relevant when you're defending, and you can get stacked a lot, which is also relevant in tournaments. So, yeah.
I agree. He's been watching too many run-at-once videos, thinks that the trend is to just defend everything. Get wrecked.
I love that, actually, because, like, all these guys are like, oh, Sam Greenwood defends, like, 80%. Yeah. I can do that, too. Yeah, you're not Sam Greenwood, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
You haven't spent the lap time that Sam Greenwood has.
Speaking of Sam Greenwood, he got second at 50K yesterday.
He did. How many people played that thing? Like 8?
Like 40-something, yeah.
were 20 of them run-at-once pros? I thought...
I don't know. I don't think so. Like, because like, what run-at-once pros do you know that play this other than him and Daniel Dwars?
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
But there's none, actually.
I thought it was interesting that they had their boycott star shirts, yet they're still at their event paying full rake and doing all that. It's like, yeah, make a protest while giving them all the money. I thought it was a little bit ironic.
Yeah. it was really weird. I was like, I guess I understand it, but like at the same time, it's just like, if you're going to be playing these 50Ks, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. Alright, so Jack 10 suited. Looks like we are going to call the 10 big blind reshove. And a lot of people be like, dude, how do you call a 10 big blind shove with Jack high? Do you want to just tell us about the wonders that is Jack 10 suited?
Like, this is where you want to use your poker stove or whatever, and you can really check like how much equity Jack 10 suited has against a shoving range there. And it's like doing much better than like calling a hand like Ace 9 off here.
Yeah.
So like this is a very, very standard call, just in case anybody didn't make this call versus 10 big blind reshove.
Not Jack 10 offsuit, though. Only
nah, Jack 10 offsuit is definitely full.
And even Queen 10 suited is not as good as Jack 10 suited there, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Alright, so Ace King, we just pile. I agree with it fully. I know some people be like, dude, you got a 3-bet small, you got it in deuce. Let's talk about Ace King out of position in a potentially re-raised pot, deep stack, semi-deep stack. Not the greatest spot to be, so...
Yeah, like, think about it, like, what hands are you 3-betting here? Like, only really strong... Like, no one really has a bluffing range in this spot, right? So, like, in those kind of spots where you don't have a bluffing range, it's not going to mean much to induce. Because, like, everybody knows you're not bluffing in this spot. It just looks so strong. I guess you could think of getting a bluffing range, but there's not really much point because the guy's raising under the gun into a table with a few stacks that can reshove and a big stack and a big blind. So like, it doesn't make much sense to have too much of a bluffing range in this spot. So considering there's no point to induce, I think shoving is just the way to go.
Now, some people would also say it makes your hand look face up. So if you have like queens, are you also just shoving?
I'm shoving.
And what's the worst? Sure. What's the worst pair you're shoving?
I'm going probably jacks plus ace king.
Yeah, and then flat 10s, 9s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flat ace queen suited, probably flat ace. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
What happens here, by the way?
You chop.
He calls me. Oh, we chop? That's not fun.
All Alright, so we're 3-betting to get an ace queen. No action. I actually really like 3-betting the next hand with ace 3.
It looks super strong, right?
It looks super strong, and after someone gets a failed raise fold or steal attempt, they often go for one more to try to like get back to even, and you got the blocker. I think
right.
it's a great spot.
I agree. I think I should have gone for it there.
Yeah. It's pretty neutral though, right? It's minor.
Yeah.
Oh, now you got kings. See, if you 3-bet the ace 3, you could 3-bet this again, but now with kings, like, this is like pretty good stack sizes to just slow play.
I think it's like the perfect stack size to slow play, actually.
Yeah, 20 big blind, and then he just check rips. He probably has like, does he have a queen?
I assume, right?
Flush draw. Perfect slow play. You 3-bet, he folds. Instead, you gotta get it in as like a 53% favorite.
Results oriented right here. Okay.
Now you're probably leading.
Yeah, I assume so.
Probably, and you're deep. But 5K big blind is very deep in this tournament because we only start with 10K chips.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that one's through. Ace 4 suited, raise and take. Jack 10.
I go to a looping strategy.
Yeah, I like it. Cause
like,
I mean, if you raised here, you're priced in to call off a couple people that you don't really want to call off with Jack 10 off.
I don't think I'm priced in versus anybody, actually.
What about I'm OU?
Yeah, it's 11 big. I don't think it's a necessary
Okay,
call.
so then why do you like the limp over the min raise here?
Because I don't think it's like, while I'm not priced in, I think it's like pretty like maybe even losing open in this early position versus like, you know, I've been pretty aggressive. Guys are not just gonna let me just win everything, you know. It's not like there's like some ICM bubble right here where like where they're just gonna full wider range than they should. So I think Jack 10 is like pretty neutral or possibly a losing open. So I think just putting it into a limping range could be a way to go.
Yeah. Okay, so we limp in, see it 3-way. Flop was probably the best hand, but not a hand that we can like really get value from. Like a 3's not gonna call, so we check back, call turn.
What do you think about the river play?
Fuck, man. I feel like he should have. I feel like his range is gonna be an ace, queen 10, 9-10. Like those are really the only hands he should have.
Yeah.
I feel like it looks like you're calling. So he probably should be bluffing. So I think you should fold.
Yeah, that's exactly. Like I was talking to a friend at the time over Facebook, and I was like, and I was like, what do you think I should do with Jack 10 here? And he was like, I don't know. And I just folded. Cause I was like, it doesn't make like it just looks like I'm calling, and like the ace is such a bad card to bluff on. Like if it was just like a random card, it's like even a 4 is probably a better card to bluff on than an ace. Like the ace is just like the worst card to bluff on, and he's betting half pot, which just looks super value, like ace like 5, and like it's just like such a bad card to bluff on. And I blocked queen 10 and it's 10-9 in his bluffs, you know. So I just thought it was a fold.
That's the spot where you ask your friend what he thinks, and he's like, "Dude, my average buy-in's 4. I'm not telling you what to do in a $200 buy-in tournament."
No, I almost never listen to what anybody says. I just do what I think is right, but I like hearing other people's thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I find that if someone knew that you're not going to do what they say, they'd probably actually be more open to tell you. But I know, like, I've been in spots where people ask me, like, "Dude, like, that's too much money in play there. Like, I don't want to have any part of it. I don't want."
Right, that's true.
All right, so we defend 7-6. Chat. Oh, okay, I'm surprised. So it's all you, bro.
What happened? So guy open. I defend, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Flop comes king queen 5. I remember this hand.
All right.
Okay, so this was a sizing thing where once like this board is so much better for his range, right? But at the same time, I don't expect him to be c-betting too often. I expect him to bet his like ace kings, and even ace kings like might be a check on this board in my opinion. And then he has like ace 10, ace jack, so he might c-bet, and then like queens and 5s. Like there isn't too many hands that he should be c-betting in this spot. So when he c-bets, like his range should be kind of polarized. So he should be raising bigger. C-betting bigger anyway. Mm-hmm. So like when he bets this small, I'm just like, you can't really have much. So I just go for the check raise.
Nice. Sickness. See, like you can't teach this stuff. You guys can watch this and be like, okay, I heard what he said, but I don't get it. And that's why you have to go out and practice and see situations. And the more you play and you notice when people bet small or bet big and you kind of click into the nuances, that's when you'll get it. And that's why, like, theoretically we can explain to you the concepts, but this is a play that, like, you can do it when you just get it. And until you get it, you just don't make the play, because it requires a lot of feel and a lot of understanding, a lot of variables that are hard to, like, quantify. But nice. Because, like, for people who haven't been in the spot a lot, they don't know that 10 into 26 is really small sizing, and that the sizing on this board should be more like 18 or 20. But the more you play, like, the more you'll get it.
Yeah.
And understanding the different board textures and stuff is really good for that, which is why I spent so much time talking about it in my cash game crash course book. Do you have anything you want to add to that hand before we
yeah, one thing, like, every time you make a play or, like, someone does something, I think you should think about, like, what their range is. Like, even pre-flop, say someone opens, like, in mid position, they're just like, okay, what hand is he opening to mid position with that stack sizing, with that stack size, with that open size, and, like, would he do a different thing with a different kind of range? Like, and then it's like on every single thing your opponent does, if you can put him on a range of hands, like, you really, like, constrict, like, what hands he can have there, and a lot of times it becomes super face up what he has.
Totally. Factor in that timing, that sizing, their position, their play style, how much the money means, average buy-in, how much it's left, if they're on an upswing, a downswing, makeup, back. All the info's there.
Exactly.
And then you can dial into the emotional side of the thing, and that's when you're playing poker on the emotional level, or when you understand the emotional level of the game, that's when you just become unstoppable.
Exactly.
Because people are not playing rationally. You should play rationally, but people are not. And if you can understand how they're thinking in their irrational way, you can exploit that. Actually, Daniel used to do that a lot. He just said in tournaments that he knew by the end of the day how kind of things were going to shake down and who was going to go after him and who was going to target him and whatnot. And he would just play it out perfectly and just wait for it to happen, because he'd seen this show before, whereas other people, it was their first time. And a lot of people think you got to be more active than you do early on, but it's late game when you got to bust out all the tricks. But if
like, funny part of, like, we were talking about my opening ranges early on, and it was just like, I'm opening ace jack off under the gun, sometimes folding, and then you see me, like, once the Andes come in, like, once I have a bigger stack, I'm opening, like, ace four suited under the gun. You know, like, it's just so different. It's when you really got to go for it.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, people who only learn poker from TV, they only saw the highlight hands. So they thought, like, that's what it's all about. And it's like, TV poker ignored a huge part of the game. It's good, though.
Please don't learn like that.
Yeah, it made things soft, but that's the past. And we're trying to bring you guys into the future and make you winning players with sustainable skill set in the future, a skill set that can sustain you if it's the one that you want to get into. Because, I mean, your results show it lately. When you decide to dedicate yourself to it, I think the same goes for me. Like, you can make consistent money in this game if you know what you're doing and you make the right decisions on the table and off the table too. Like, your prep is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, just to note, guys, home game is starting on 888. On Poker Stars. We do have 4 more games. I'm accepting everyone in the club if you guys want to try to win some free training material. There's 10 minutes of late reg in that home game, and I will accept you guys to the club.
I haven't played a hand in a while.
Whatever, you don't need to. You have all the chips.
I'm just surprised.
Played one. I mean, sometimes you got to Espen sorely it and just fold everything.
Just get aces, that's how you win.
I mean, that's what I did on party.
No, that's not true.
There, you played 7 deuce and you lost to 9-3.
I did?
Yeah, you suck, bro.
I do.
You suck. You stick to your premium hands, man. Silly noob. Chips are for kids. Oh, you played a hand. Queen 4 suited. This is interesting. You're attacking 24 big blind stack with Queen 4 suited. This is This is wider than I would expect. I'm curious about this spot. I want to know.
Yeah, I think this is a really good spot that's like not gone for very often. So first of all, my sizing, never give up, can never reshove light. You know, like I have to call him off, but I can still fold to I'm just a nit and Colonel Forbin, while Voltado is probably isn't gonna flat. This 3-bet too often. He's probably gonna. He might flat, but it's not even a horrible spot for us because then we get to C3 and we can see what we're gonna do. But when he's opening off this stack, like this player specifically is too loose from every position pretty much. Like, and he pretty much like doesn't think about dynamics or like different stacks. He just likes to open too loose in a lot of spots. And like with his stack, I think he should be pretty tight. I think he should be opening really tight, and I don't think he's doing that. And I think my 3-bet looks really strong because I'm only going to open. I have to call this other guy's shove, and like it just looks super strong that I think he should fold a lot, and I think he's opening too loose, thus making me 3-bet this thing.
Nice. That all makes sense, and that's why it all worked because he considered all the factors. He knew what factors to look for. Alright, on we go. And actually, Nuts has a question that I said wait till break, but I'll just answer it now.
Okay.
Where would I rate watching the Gripst stream in terms of preparation and study? And I think that when we do this hand history reviews, it doesn't get much better than that because we're doing the homework for you. We're taking the time to go through the hand history for you so you don't have to do it. We're also giving you really high-level analysis. We're also giving you multiple perspectives as opposed to me just saying I did this and it's right, or Ali just saying I did this and it's right. You get to hear the different opinions and the different whys and whatnots. But the one thing I will say, if the verbiage we're using is too advanced or some of the concepts we use you don't understand, you're definitely not getting 100% value out of the stream. And that's where you say, okay, I didn't understand what that was. I need to go learn what that means. And then that's where the books come in real handy, and then you learn that, and then you come back and watch it again, and you get more out of it. Because like the more advanced a player is, the more they're going to get out of these streams. But in terms of how it compares to other forms of study, I think that these hand history reviews with really good poker minds are literally the best form of study, other than just mashing it out with an equity calculator. Like this plus equity calc, and a little bit of practice, you're good.
Yeah, like the ones you did with Charlie and Ben, but they're like this Charlie Sunday 500 and Ben Sunday Million were just so good. I've watched both of those, and like I watched them before my Sunday sessions. So there's like 5-hour videos, right? And like I literally woke up early just to watch this because they're just so useful and so good.
Mm-hmm. And like I actually took your advice with that. The reason that I watched this 9-part series on Run It Once this week was because I wanted to prepare to make a deep run on a Sunday, like really deep. And I want to see, okay, I've seen how I do it, and I've watched how some of the other gripsters do it. I want to see someone completely different and how they do it. And It was really nice to see just another method that works. And for next week, I'm going to go through the Charlie Ben video again, because when you're making the video, you don't get as much out of it as when you're watching the video.
Right, yeah, that's for sure true.
So I want to go through both of Charlie's wins before the end of the month. I want to watch the Sunday Million and the Sunday 500 before the month is over, just so we're ready to ship that Sunday fucking 5 mil at the end of the month.
I think the Sunday 500 will be a lot more beneficial than the Sunday Million one,
okay.
But it'll still be good. Also, his review of the when he won 45K and it was some 109 rebuy or something.
Yeah, the Sunday rebuy.
Yeah, I thought that one was really good too.
Yeah, I should definitely check it out. I remember when those first came out, I was too worn out from all the other stuff that I couldn't just like relax and take it, because you want to be like relaxed when you study. Yeah, you don't want to be like amped up, like you don't want to just come from the gym or something. You want to be in kind of a chill state where you're calm, because then you're more receptive to taking in new ideas. That's why hypnosis is so effective. That's why, like in therapy sessions, they get you to lie down on the couch before they ask you a question, because it's easier to take in new information when you're relaxed. Which is why I'm a huge believer in the float tank, but we can wait for another stream to talk about that. So we got 7-4 suited. We're getting 4-1. Looks like a spot where you definitely don't want to fold. I feel like with his stack size, he's probably not raise folding too much, so flat is probably better than 3-bet small, but you 3-bet big.
Yeah, I think I actually kind of disagree. So he's opening off a 15 big blind stack, right? So when we were thinking about what hands he's opening off a 15 big blind stack, it's like he's gonna jam his small pairs, probably like eights and worse, or maybe even nines and worse. He's probably gonna jam.
True.
And then he's gonna jam like king queens, queen jacks, ace jacks, all those hands, right?
Yeah.
So then once he's opening right here, he's either just nutted like ace kings queens and ace king, or he has a hand he's gonna fold to a shove, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like it's hard to have a really strong hand, and it's the same guy who I said was opening too light. Like this is a play that I actually learned from watching something that Patrick Leonard did. He ended up 3-bet jamming deuce 3 suited in a very similar spot, and I was like, I don't understand. And then he wrote about it and he posted on Twitter and was like, this is why I did this. And like even Fedor was asking questions about it, and Fedor was like, oh okay, and like it was just something that like clicked for me. Because I was like, when these guys are opening off these stack sizes, they're probably opening too loose. Because they're gonna be jamming their like medium strength hands, so they're gonna be opening like their like ace, like their suited aces. They're like some suited pickers that they're opening. They're gonna be opening like 9-10 suited, like maybe like jack tens, and then they're gonna be shove. And then they're gonna be opening their like really strong hands and shoving their like strong hands that you know don't want to raise call. So that I just think it's a really profitable spot versus these kind of stacks to just 3-bet jam like super light.
Yeah, so it's like you're basically taking the concept that I use a lot, which is 3-betting with junk. Like if you had like 20 blinds here, I'd 3-bet to like 50,000 or something. But I didn't like to 3-bet all in, so I'm like, oh man, like if I get called, honestly, it's like I'm gonna look like an idiot. But it's like when you 3-bet fold, you know, if they pile on you, you get no percent equity. But here, if you 3-bet shove, even if he calls with value, he's still gonna suck out 20 to 35% of the time.
Do you remember Ben's review? He did this play multiple times, like this exact thing, where someone was raising off this kind of stacks that he rejammed like Jack 4 suited and stuff, and like people were like, "What are you doing there?" But like it's like very very good play in my opinion. I think it was a play that a lot of people like miss out on that I think is super profitable for you.
Yeah, that's why I had to put it in sub only mode, because otherwise everyone would be saying, "What are you doing?" And I'm sure when we get to the break, one of the main questions will be like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's winning. Yeah. He's winning. Look, the guy fold. He won the pot. Cards didn't matter.
I think this is really good.
So that's just some Hold'em resources practice stuff.
Yeah, or like I mean, I forget what Patrick was using, but like he found like the range to shove here just like pretty much any hand doesn't include a 9 or a 10. It was just so ridiculous. Like how wide you could shove there. It was unbelievable.
I guess we'll have to slide up in Patrick's DMs.
Yeah, he's really good.
I'll work on it. All right, so we go for the 3-bet here with the blocker. I think this is a great spot. Opponent woke up with a hand. Whatever. Can't win them all. And then you fold 6s.
I fold 6s, huh?
This is probably the same as the 7s. This is actually it's the exact same as the 7s I had on Sunday, where it's just too many chips to pile. And the guy's not necessarily opening like super wide.
Like you can't flatting here. Like the hands I'll flat here are probably like suited broadways, and then like my really strong hands as well to never give up shove, or I'm just a mid shove or corner. Like I would be flatting a lot here, and I don't really love 3-betting too many hands, and the 6 is not a profitable flat, so I'm just gonna fold it.
Yeah. Okay, Mojo. The way we're looking at the 3-bets with junk, right? Okay, here's what it is. These are the variables you need to look at. Player is opening X% of hands, right? There we go. We go here. He's opening X% of hands, and he's calling with Y percent of hands, which means he's folding 1 minus Y is like the math equation, something like that. But basically, you put in the variables and you say, okay, when he calls, which is Y% of the time, which is very low, like 10 or something, we win a pot of, you put in his 150 plus ours, 312K some percentage of the time, 35% of the time. The other 90% of the time, or 80% of the time when he folds, we win 40K. And then you just basically put the variables together. You say, okay, so if I don't make the play, I win 0. I break even, I fold my big blind. If I shove, as long as he's folding most of the time, I'm making so many chips on all the times that he folds that it doesn't even matter that if he calls me if I had no equity. The fact that when he calls, we additionally have like 35% equity just makes it even better.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna mention that. I was like, even when he called, we're still, we're not gonna lose every time.
Yeah, it's a mathematical calculation. I guess I should probably make a video on just the math for a reshove, since it's not complicated and it comes up a lot, but it's just most people don't realize just the fact that you get called so rarely and you pick up so many chips on those times that it just makes so it doesn't matter.
It's a lot of the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah, which that's no fun to do. But
I mean, I kind of enjoy it.
yeah, that's why we're good study buddies. You do the nitty gritty, and I do the networking and the chit chatting with the big boys, and then together we bring together a couple of different perspectives, and it's great.
Can you pause it to 4-9 suited hand?
Why? You want to do something with some trash?
No, I'm not gonna do it now. I just want to explain something real quick.
Okay.
So you see, Colonel Foreman just jams for 17 bigs, right? Like, this is exactly what we were talking about. Like, if they have a hand that they want to get in, a lot of times they're just gonna jam, right? If he has a hand, if he has a really strong hand, if he has like aces, if he has like queens or like jacks and lower, I assume he's gonna jam, right? So then when he's raising, he either has just like aces and kings or an ace king. He might even shove ace king, to be honest. But like, he either has a really strong hand or a hand that he wants to raise fold. So like, this is like what I was trying to explain earlier when I reshoved the 7-4 suited. Like, it's the exact same thing. It's a guy that shoved, obviously, fold 7-4 suited. But when he raises off 15 big blinds with a stack where he's going to shove a lot of his range, it just looks like a spot where he's going to fold to our jam a lot. That makes 7-4 suited a profitable shove.
Yeah, we're actually saying that most of the time that they raise to that size, they actually have garbage hands. Because if they had a real hand, they would just go all in.
Exactly.
And that's why the resteals work so much. And when the resteal is going to work a lot, your cards don't matter. Remember, your cards only matter if, they're your backup. Your cards are your backup plan. Your main plan is just getting your opponent to fold. So I'm just I remember this hand.
Yeah. I remember you were like, he's just a nit, Ollie. I was like, okay, dude.
And he's got ace king and
yeah.
This is when you blew the chip lead. This is great.
Yeah, remember this? Yeah. So
I thought you hit a queen. I just assumed you'd hit a queen.
What do you think about this, actually? Like, you think calling is better, or do you think shoving is the way to go?
I mean, with it being the FT bubble, and
no, we're around like 14 people or so at this point.
Okay, you're on the final table. There's 2 tables left, and you're shorthanded. You're on the final table.
Okay.
I think that shoving can't be bad, for sure. Because you have ace queen, and the guy can be opening a bunch. But I think that like, you're deep enough at 20 blinds where you can actually find like higher leverage spots. Like flop, you could either like do some leading stuff, or you could like check raise a lot of textures where you could actually fold him off ace king. And I think by flatting with ace queen here, you can actually get him to fold a lot of hands post flop that would have stacked off pre flop. And because he actually has a big stack that can kind of dent yours a lot, and you lose a lot of play when he does actually wake up with it. I think I kind of prefer flatting because of the stage in the tournament and all those other things. Like, that also, like, you don't need this 40K in the middle that bad.
Correct. Yeah. What do you think? You take the big blind stack into account here?
Yeah, I think it actually, from this type of player, means he's less likely to be light.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. That's why I after thinking about it, I was like, that was a bad shove. I expect him to be actually tighter here, because he's always going to call that guy and he's raising under the gun. And I think that just calling my whole range here might be okay. Yeah. Where I can just flat aces and then never give up, can just jam a lot of hands. And then I'm just going to with ISO. And then like, I can just call with my really strong hands and then fold like hands like ace queen and worse.
True. But the real reason you thought it was a bad shove was because you lost,
okay,
right?
We're not going to be results oriented here, buddy.
If a queen comes, great fucking shove. Great fucking. So this is when things get interesting, because this is when Ollie said in the chat, all right, I'm just going to spin this thing up, and when I win it, we're going to do a hand history review. And I'm like, okay, cool, man. You're like, you're like 12 of 14, man. Like, good luck closing it out. But it's when it gets interesting. We're going to see him play a lot tighter than we have before, because he just doesn't have the chips to go ham anymore. But I think you played this stack pretty perfectly from what I could see without the cards. And I think when we can see the cards, everyone's going to think you're crazy, but I'm just going to think you're even more genius. So it's going to be really fun. I think we might even go on open chat for the final table, just so we can get all the reactions. People being like, dude, what are you doing?
I think I played like from this point on like some of the best poker I played in a long time.
I feel like when you're super short, if you've done the study, it's easy to play well, and then like when you rebuild chips, you're just motivated to not screw it up because you
Exactly.
remember how short you were and you're like, I'm not going back there again, like unless I fucking have to.
Exactly.
Whereas when you had a lot of chips and then lose them, it's easy to dust them off with the last little bet.
Yeah.
So we ISO here.
Yeah, this is the guy who's probably still opening to lose.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's shoving, but yeah,
He's shoving.
It's a really easy call.
A7, and now you're down to 5 bigs, 4 bigs, 4 bigs, guys. He is down to 4 big blinds, and he's gonna win. He's gonna fucking win the tournament, spin it up off 4 bigs. Shit is crazy. So is that the one that bursted? Okay, so we're on the final table.